My name is Mark Seward. I'm Senior Director for Security and Compliance Marketing at Splunk.
I have to start off this question at InfoSec 2013. Where does the name Splunk come from?
Yes, that question. Actually, Splunk is sort of a shortened term for spelunking, which is cave diving. So when you go into caves, you're called a spelunker, or you're spelunking when you go into caves. So it made sense because people have historically had to try to dive into their data and try to figure out into the dark recesses of their data, try to figure out what's going on. So we just shortened the term and called it Splunk. And so, and it stuck.
So the name stuck. Well, yeah. Of course, big stories here at InfoSec 2013. A lot being said about cloud security. And one of the statements that you came out prior to the show was that you feel the future of security resides in machine data. Tell us more about that.
Well, as chief executive officers, financial officers, chief information security officers really begin to look at risk across their organization, what they're realizing is that all of the perimeter kinds of things that we all use to monitor, our antivirus, our intrusion detection systems, firewall data, what attackers have done is really sort of separate that out and push it further and further away from the hub of what the business actually does. For example, I spoke to some folks at a chocolate manufacturing company, a very large one, and what they're worried about as far as risk goes isn't necessarily that somebody logs into something 5 times and they fail and that kind of thing. What they're concerned about is the renegade employee who goes into the factory and turns up the thermostat 5 degrees and causes quality problems for their product. That product is shipped out to retailers. It doesn't have as much shelf life. They have to do a product recall. Somebody tweets about that, and a huge conglomerate company gets a big black eye in the public. That's a huge risk for them. So when we think about machine-generated data, I'm thinking about HVAC data. I'm thinking about physical access data. I'm thinking about satellite data, GPS data. I'm thinking call data records. All of the kinds of data that's much closer to what the business cares about. So when you think about machine-generated data, those are the kinds of things we're looking at. Really the stuff that powers the business, custom applications, things like that.
So in terms of solutions that you as Splunk are looking into for businesses, is it along the lines of human interactions with machines? Is it along the lines of spotting abnormal patterns?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because the logs really represent all of the human-to-machine and machine-to-machine interactions. And when we take a look at all of that in a time series index with an analytics language and visualization, you can begin to tell a much more accurate story. When I talk to customers who have current security information event management systems, one of their complaints is the fact that they don't have enough context to get to true root cause analysis. And often, he said, before they had our product, they were wrong 90% of the time. So when you think about context, you think about all the different kinds of data that you can obtain. I can obtain vacation schedules from a time management system. I can obtain information about you from all kinds of different sources. Twitter data for social interaction, sentiment analysis on companies, whether the term viruses and bots, for example, are beginning to go up in popularity on Twitter. Be able to have sort of a much more holistic picture of where risks are. That's really what we're talking about.
And looking at your marketplace, what are the sort of businesses that you're working with the most, and what are the sort of businesses that are most vulnerable?
I wish I could actually answer that, because we're working with all businesses and all verticals. When you have a flexible platform that offers visualization and analytics and statistical analysis, it tends to want to get deployed in many different ways in many different verticals. We're in healthcare, monitoring machine-generated data from heart monitoring equipment. We're in transportation, looking at RFID, GPS data for just-in-time shipments and manufacturing. We're looking at banking, where we're looking at their transaction data, particularly around the call center, to make sure that there's no sort of bank fraud going on with malicious insiders inside the bank. So when you begin to think about machine-generated data and the fact it comes from anywhere, this product is really a very good fit for any business that needs the flexibility to really monitor what the business cares about, what's at the heart of the business.
Obviously, it's growing in awareness as we speak, especially here at Infosec 2013. But do you think the businesses that really should be worried about this are taking it seriously now, or has it been slow to raise awareness?
It's getting there. We've all been wedded to the concept of protecting the business at the perimeter, and it really requires a shift in your thinking. When I became a security practitioner, I thought I had a big data problem then, and that was back in the late 90s. And I'm looking at things today, and I'm realizing that the most important things in my training as a security practitioner really should have been my statistical analysis textbook, my brain, and a subscription to Psychology Today to understand how attackers and malicious insiders really think. Because unless you understand how they think, you can't really put together the IT risk scenarios that machine data will support.
On that line, I always like to imagine the people that are behind these security threats. I mean, who are the instigators of the threats like this?
Oh my gosh. We're talking everything from two guys in a garage that just want to see what they can do to disrupt your business, to nation-state sponsored attacks from foreign countries who are looking to steal intellectual property, which by the way is the most popular thing to do now because it's much more lucrative than credit card numbers. Credit card numbers are only worth about 10 cents each on the open market, on the black market. So I have to steal a lot of those to really make a living. Whereas if I steal the drawings or the intellectual property for the next big thing, that's something I can turn around and sell. So when we think about the value of things, the attacks are coming from a lot of different places. Malicious insiders, people who think that they're entitled to intellectual property and want to take it with them to the next job that they get, potentially at a competitor. I mean, we're thinking about all kinds of different ways and different possibilities for attacks from all kinds of different sources.
Well, no doubt big things to come out of Splunk in the coming months, and we'll look forward to seeing them, but thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.